That does it for us today.
You're running full speed, but the markets are faster. Quasar Markets Live brings the world's top financial minds to you. Everything you need to know in one place. Learn from elite educators and gain a competitive edge, leveling the playing field for you. Join the conversation. Quasar Markets Live.
Are you an online educator struggling to find your audience? Quasar Markets connects you with learners looking for you. Keep 100% ownership of your courses. No hidden fees. Already have monetized content? Get paid again and again. Apply today. Take control of your educational empire. Quasar Markets, where educators build their legacy.
Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. How is everybody doing today? I am flying solo today. BigBeat off to Duke to speak to some students and stuff. Probably have a few cocktails at his Illinois Duke game tomorrow. So I'm going to bring you all the info myself here this morning. Starting off, scoreboard right now, you see it across the bottom. We're actually moving up from that Q's NASDAQ composite up almost a full percentage point now. SPY up 42 basis points. Dow is modestly lower. Salesforce weighing heavy there. And as you can see, the VIX had been creeping up, now dropped back down to 14.8. So we continue to see stuff. Hey, Ron, how are you doing, my friend? So what we see is today we got a split market, liquidity trade in tech, recession trade in cyclicals, a classic late style cycle tug of war. Tech is flying, Dow's dying, and the story opens here our Friday. August payrolls came in at just 2,200. Weakest jobs growth since 2020, and that definitely does have the market keeping track. FedWatch moved up over 99% for a cut in September here in the next week or so. And as I said, August payrolls came in at just 22,000, way below the 75,000 expected. Unemployment ticked up to 4.3%. When we look at the revisions, July it nudged higher to 79K, but June cut again a net 13K to the downside. So the 3-month average is just 38K, down from almost 200,000 a year ago. So again, the numbers, it speaks to a lot. If we look at it by sector, trade, transportation, and utilities, down about 17,000 jobs. Education and health, down 12,000 jobs. And I talked about this yesterday, leisure and hospitality, the only thing that's buoying the sort of job market right now, and that is plus 50,000. So people are still spending on fun, but the real economy is shrinking. The jobs that we're seeing it. This is the information or the things that are sort of counterintuitive today, right? Things are bad across the globe or across the U.S. And what do we see? Tech taking off here with, the Q's set to open now up a full percentage point. But if you dig deeper, why is that the case? It's the case because of the fact that, they're baking in now 3 full cuts across the Fed here. So keep that in mind. Fed Watch has moved, and it is now showing us for 3 straight cuts. So, that's what's got the market moving so far today. But I would warn that, nothing today is good, or none of this is good for the economy. Good morning, Marilyn. Hoping you're having a good day. Wages were steady, plus 4.4% for the job stayers and about 7.1% for changers, so still sticky there. And this follows ADP's 54K miss and JOLTS at 2020 lows. Labor is definitely cooling fast, and Fed cut odds for September 17th are essentially locked in, as I mentioned. Payrolls just definitely hit the stall speed, and that puts the Fed's finger firmly on the cut button. And again, not just in September, but it looks like September, October, and December cuts. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what is going on the good side and the bad side of the corporate movers so far. And on the good side, if we look, AVGO having a nice day here, up 14.34% on their earnings report last night. AI revenue up about 63%. A mystery $10 billion chip deal. They did not announce who the buyer is. There's a mystery buyer for about $10 billion. And the stock is up, as you can see now, 14.4%, cementing itself as the major player. Broadcom, Steve actually hit this one incorrectly yesterday. He felt that this would be a little bit of a laggard compared to the other chips. This has been really the first one to have earnings that has moved things significantly to the upside. We know that Marvell was a miss. We know that NVIDIA was, in their mind, a miss. And such. So again, nice move up by AVGO, 350, well above their 52-week high here, which was at 317.35 there. CRM also having a pretty solid day here. Salesforce now only up about a 0.5 percentage point, but they did beat on earnings. Again, they guided light for the Q3. Stock was down 7%, dragging down the Dow by 99 points by itself. So again, rough day for CRM. Guidance is what really hurt them. It is recovering a little bit this morning, as you can see, after the big loss yesterday. We know American Eagle, AEO, had a big day yesterday after their earnings. They're up 37.96% yesterday, up another 1.22% today. A little surprising to me to see it still have a little bit of steam. And they called again their Sweeney and Kelsey campaign the best ever. So, retail can still surprise. We're seeing a little bit of a divergence between them. Another big losers yesterday, we know, were C3AI, Figma on the downside. On the upside yesterday, we saw Credo up about 11% and Hewlett Packard up about 3%. This morning's big loser seems to be Lululemon. Lululemon struggling here this morning after their earnings came out, down about 20% here. And again, tariff headwinds were definitely the key that they mentioned themselves throughout their not really on that. So, those are the things we're sort of looking at so far today. Tick, as we get ready, we're about 20 minutes from the open, is still positive about 140. Advanced decline has really jumped up since those labor numbers came out. So again, markets digesting the data, moving to the upside, although it does look like the Qs are starting to cool off here. It did have crypto and gold that had everything moving in an upward direction, except for, of course, interest rates. Interest rates were moving down. We see the 30-year, which was pushing up against 5 yesterday, never mind earlier this week, I was going to say, now pulled all the way down to 4.781%. So maybe, this should also move. And we did see original right off the bat that the RUT and the RU were moving to the upside, the smaller cap ones behind that. Ron saying OpenAI, that's who you're going with there. I'm not even going to try to guess, Ron. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any clue who it could be. It didn't really, haven't tried to figure it out. We'll find out soon enough who it is. If you're matching up reports, good for you, sir. Definitely want to, if you can get ahead of that call, it would be a good one. Markets, like I said, up about 21.52 to the upside so far here today. DXY dropping back down to 97.57 on this news. So we are right back. 97.56, if you remember, is the area where Steve Flanagan told us if we broach that to the downside, it's a pretty bad move to the downside that could come after that. So this definitely moved to the wrong side of that without a doubt. Okay, that's what I was looking for here. Also, Tesla. Did everyone see you guys ready to pay Elon $1 trillion here? Tesla board is proposing a $1 trillion payout to Mr. Musk here. It would take a lot to get there, but the new $975 billion pay plan for Musk in 12 tranches tied to milestones. Targets are $2 trillion to $8.5 trillion market cap. So again, to get the full payout there, it would have to move from currently a $1 trillion company to an $8.5 trillion company. So, he's setting some pretty lofty goals for himself. He's looking for 20 million vehicle deliveries, 1 million robo taxis, and 10 million FSD subs. So subscriptions there. Stock was up about 2% on the pre-market. We know Musk already runs SpaceX, Neuralink, X, and XAI. This plan expands his voting power at Tesla. The question is, are investors rewarding vision or concentrating risk? And I did hear some good commentary that talked to the fact that this really could be in response, so to speak, to make sure that Tesla is a big part of XAI, that they're not left out of the fundraising for XAI. It would sort of give him a very, definite reason to do so. Other winners today that I've been watching, DocuSign up nicely today. Up about 7.31% now on their earnings beat. They came in with an EPS of 92 cents, expected to be at 84 cents. I just realized that the little, when you guys put notes now, I have it so it loads up on that bottom right-hand side. I kind of like that. That's pretty good. They had this little new option today for me, so I did take advantage of it. So again, DocuSign moving to the upside. This is one, again, that, we're seeing more and more use case for it. It isn't going away. I just used it 3 or 4 times yesterday for my work at ABCA for signing documents. So DocuSign, nice move to the upside. The sales reached 800 million, beating expectations by 2.5%. And they showed 8.8% growth year over year. So nice move to the upside there, as we talked about. I do have some more data on that Lululemon, so we'll go back there. I had lost my place. And again, down almost 20% here. Their EPS was a beat. They came in at $3.10, but their revenue was a slight miss at $2.53 billion. Their full year guidance was a big cut. They're now expecting an EPS of 12.77 to 12.97 versus the 14.45 estimate that was on the street. Tariffs have hit them for $240 million profit drag from the higher rates. They did bring up, of course, the repeal, and that would be a windfall for them, of course. CEO admits products got too predictable, that they're seeing fatigue in the lounge and casual wear, and that they plan to boost new product mix from 23% to 35% by spring. And again, the international sales are saving the show, but the U.S. consumer fatigue plus tariffs equal a rough road. This could be, Nike's moment to eat market share. And I've noticed more and more folks switching away from Lululemon to the competition myself. And the competition seems to be doing a better job overall. Got to talk about what's going on, obviously, with tariffs still. President has vowed to take it to the Supreme Court. Analysts now argue stocks need tariffs to stay in place. So it's a little bit of a paradox. We're now seeing tariffs were bad, but now analysts are arguing that stocks need tariffs to stay in place. And if the Supreme Court overturns Trump's tariffs, the bond market could rally too far and undercut equities. So there's definitely some irony near now. The bulls are rooting for tariffs to sustain the fiscal balance that's sort of been set. So what you have is, quite honestly, the devil or however you want to word that, is what's carrying the day. Thanks, Ron, for sharing that. He does say that the recent 10 was secured by OpenAI. Nice. Love to see it. So Ron getting the news before CNBC and everybody else. You got to love to see that. Google, again, the other thing last night, the president had all those CEOs in for the perennial bow to the bended knee. And Google, of course, extremely happy to be at the dinner and said, Sundar said he is glad it is over. Google tied into Trump's AI action plan, 90 federal policy actions. Stock is up 38% year to date, and they've added $230 billion to the market cap this week. They avoided a breakup in the DOJ case, and the penalty is lighter than feared. So nice to see that for them. It's all going to be about how the traders digest today's news. Nvidia is still down here about 1.47% this morning, even after AVGO's great earnings. Looking at it, AMD and Nvidia, the only two in the red here when it comes to chips today. So interesting to see that. I guess the philosophy being if AVGO got OpenAI's business, it did not go to Nvidia or AMD. But nice move up by most of the chip sector so far. Bitcoin pulling back from its key level there, so doesn't look like it's ready to break out yet. Holding up nicely, but you can see that 113,350 area key resistance ahead of us right now. Tick is still positive about 179, advanced decline at almost 2,300. So we are still moving to the upside here. So folks are buying. They are liking what they heard out of that job data. I personally am not. I don't think it is good for, I think it brings the R word right back in recession. People are losing jobs. Can't go up forever, but it can act, as we've said many times, right? The market can stay irrational before you can stay liquid, or longer than you can stay liquid. Gold 35.79 here, so it did try to break back to an all-time high. Got there on the spot market here, 35.86. Futures 3,600, so nice move up there. Silver up at 1.5% here on the news, also 41.24. So it hasn't broken completely to that 42 Steve had called for earlier, but real close here, looking like it wants to try to touch that. Q set to open up almost a full percentage point here. And SPY up about 40 basis points as we get ready to open. Dow is looking to open up. It looks like about 6 basis points. Again, it had been in the negative before that labor report, so you got to like to see that. VIX has come back down. I sold on the pump my VIX calls. I am going to be buying some here later today. Again, I'll look at the 1520s or the 1518s or something like that. But again, you buy VIX protection when you don't need it. You sell it on the pump, and then you rinse and repeat. And we're getting down to those levels again. My target's always about the same, that 1448 area, 1450. So if it does get that low, I will be jumping in. And so far, it's headed that way. We do see crude continuing to drop again as OPEC announced that they will cut their production curbs earlier than expected. So we do have that trading at about 61.775 so far. As we look at the sectors of the S&P, we've got a little bit of a mixed bag. XLE, which is the energy sector, down slightly, down about 83 basis points. XLP, which is consumer staples, down slightly, pretty much opening flat. Same thing with healthcare, and with the financial sector down slightly. Real estate moving to the upside. I would expect to see Lennar, DH, Horton, all of those moving today, as again, they should be beneficiaries of the rates, and we do see them up now about 2.37% this morning. DH, Horton, Lennar. up about 2.7. And if we go further down that list, so to speak, or looking at it differently, this should be good for a Home Depot again also. And they are up about 1% also. So channel check sort of playing out. You know, if rates are going down, people would do more, buy more homes, and, you know, those that aren't going to buy more homes, maybe fix up the ones that they have. We know major projects had seen a steep decline, so that would be good to see. We do see foreign markets had a pretty good night overnight, with the Nikkei up about a 0.5 percentage point in Japan, the Chinese Hang Seng up 1.43%, and the Stock 600 in the EU up 37 basis points here. As we said, not as good a day for the DXY, although it did pop off of that low we were looking at there. So did hold that key level there, and back above that 97.56, which had been the weekly close that Mr. Flanagan said, if we drop below, beware. We are about 4 minutes from the open here. Tick is still positive here. Advanced decline 23.22 at the highs of the morning. So again, we are seeing people digest the job data and saying these interest rate cuts are going to be good for us. So can't argue with that, but we'll see what we get here at the open. And what else is breaking here? Anything else? Not really. Did notice Chinese names were hitting some of the laggards here again. XHG, the Chinese car manufacturer, down about 5%. Fastenal down about 2.8% here this morning. Copart, which was up nicely over the last couple of days, down on their earnings today. So, and analysts have given them more buys, but Copart could be an interesting one here for me today. They had shot up yesterday, now down about 4.84, erasing all of yesterday's gains. So one that does get interesting for me here personally. I did mention AMD down about 2.92%. That's after a downgrade to neutral by Seaport Research, who reduced their target from 200 to 180. On the upside, Braze, a company I'm not all that familiar with, BRZE, up nicely in the pre-market, about 19%. This is an earnings beat. They reported a Q2 EPS of 15 cents, beating estimates with revenue of 180.1 million, a 28%. So nice little move to the upside there. We mentioned AVGO up about 16.5% now, so still pumping there. DocuSign up 7.86. We are seeing a little bit of profit taking here. Highs of the morning were 86.06. The meme darling Open Door nicely up here today, trading at about 640 here. So getting ready to set a new all-time high there on Open Door. So meme trade still in place for sure. And nice move up by them. Albemarle, the mining company, up about 4.45% here this morning. Don't see a lot of reasons why there. Zendesk up about 5% here, moving up tremendously over the last couple of days here. So definitely SNDK, big pumper here. And still moving to the upside. On some pretty good volume too, 10 million volume versus normal daily average of 2.56. We are open here. Let's see what we get at the open. Q's first move is a little bit of a sell-off here. See what we get, though. Wouldn't surprise to see a little bit of profit taking here at the start. But again, so far as the early morning trade has been to the upside. Advanced decline shoots up to 3,400 on that open. Tick is positive 140, 150. Mag 7, as I said, NVIDIA getting hit here, 167, so it's getting really close to my area. I had mentioned I get very interested here at that 160. It's actually, we're almost at it. 163 area is what I was looking at yesterday. So might be buying the dip here on NVIDIA for more of a long-term position. We'll see here. This is a little oversold in my opinion. Apple up 21 basis points, Microsoft up a 0.5 percentage point, Google up almost a 0.5 percentage point, Amazon, which was a big winner yesterday, down about 46 basis points here. Meta up about 1%, Tesla up 3.7. Don't fade the Musk. So they like his new paying him $1 trillion here, making him the first trillionaire. So people seem to like it. I always say, do not fade the Musk. Nice little jump from Tesla. And Netflix up a 0.5 percentage point here. Tick nicely up now 400. Qs, we see the Dow Jones now up 31 basis points. Nice move to the upside here. High of the day. SPY, high of the day. Qs not quite at the highs of the day. RUT, big winner also. RUT at the high of the day here, 23.94. So small caps, which would benefit the most from interest rate adjustments there. Marilyn saying GWRE moving up. Yeah, nice move up by Guidewire, 22% here this morning. Nice little move to the upside there. That is on earnings. They did just have earnings. Freeze holding up about 17.61%. I do see TT Service Titan now moving up, also up about 9.34% here. A little move to the upside. Got the Bitcoin mining companies are moving up here. HUT up about 4.71% today. There were a few of the others. Riot up about 4% today. Bitcoin mining companies were moving up. Galaxy up 3.23. Seeing Sunrun up about 3.47 and FSLR, so solar getting a little love today, up 3.67 also. So it's a wide, everything's sort of getting some love here today. BTDR up about 4.16, another Bitcoin mining company here. See what the laggards are so far this morning. Lululemon coming off the lows of the day, but still down about 18.3%. Kiev down about 5%. Copart, as I mentioned earlier, down about 4.459. AMD now down 4.3. Charles Schwab getting hit pretty hard today, down 2.83. Same with IBKR. I'm not sure what the news is there. Looks like those two moving in tandem. I don't see anything, but that's a pretty big move down by Charles Schwab here today. Looks like it wants to close the gap. 92.86 would close the gap to the downside there. You see banks, financials getting hit a little bit in general, but definitely, yeah, Schwab. Schwab, a big loser so far. JP Morgan down about a 0.5 percentage point here. NVIDIA is bouncing a little bit back from the lows of the day, but not really. Still hurting here. Moving to the downside. Tick is still a 500 to the upside. We now see advanced decline, highs of the day 42.50, so 42.70. So people are still buying here. We're moving to the upside. Dixie is sitting, or DXY, 97.63 here. All of the indices moving to the upside so far. Gold trying to break to a 52-week high here again. Would be 35.87 to get to that level. Bitcoin holding above 113 here, but again, not looking all that strong for a breakout above that 113,500 level. It's tried a few times, hasn't been able to make it. Same thing, Ethereum up at key resistance right now. Both of those hitting the levels here. Will this be what it takes? Can we see the volume? We haven't seen the volume on the crypto names here over the last couple of weeks to break out of ranges. Key resistance has, in general, knocked us down. Paramount, that was down earlier in the pre-market, now up almost 1%. So there's a little bounce back play. AVGO still trying to move here, up 14%. Breeze up 16.99. Sundesk continue to move to the upside, up almost 7% here. Solar all up today. Enphase up 4.74%. So today seems to be a day solar getting a lot of love. Okay, everybody, that is going to do it for me today. I have to run to an appointment here. Everyone, for Quasar Markets, have a fantastic weekend. BigBeat will be back on Monday to run the show. Everybody have a great weekend.